So today we are going to be working on our Woodworker badge for the cadet level. Step 1 is learning how to swing a hammer. Step 2 is keep it level. Step 3 is use a screwdriver. Step 4 is saw some wood. Step 5 is build something yourself. So we will get started on a few of the steps today, and steps 1 through 3, and then steps 4 and 5 will need to be completed on your own in order for you to earn and complete all the requirements for this badge. So as we get started, we're going to go ahead and do the Girl Scout Law and Promise. So if I could see your three fingers up, and we will start with the Girl Scout Promise. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout Law. The Girl Scout Law. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, and to respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. Great job, ladies. I do want to give you a little heads up before we get started is I do have a puppy, and he likes to be around me, and instead of having him constantly barking and crying at the door, he is outside, but he does love attention, so he may or may not decide to be in the video. So today, the purpose of this badge is that once you have completed, you'll know the basic tools, you will know how to use the basic tools to make simple woodworking projects. So the first thing is to learn how to swing a hammer. Before we get started, when you're using any tools, if you've never used them before, you want to make sure that you find someone who understands or knows the woodworking skills that can help you with these steps as well. Today I asked you to kind of grab some scrap lumber, and we're going to learn how to use the proper way to use a hammer and some nails without ending up hitting your thumb. So I'm going to kind of adjust and go from my chair to sitting on the ground. So just bear with me as I shift everything and I sit on the ground. All right. So one screen you'll see on there that says Danielle Sykes, and you'll see my face and me talking. And then on the bottom, you'll be able to see the area that I'm working with. Whenever you are working with nails or screws, you want to make sure that you wear protective eye gear. So I'm going to take my sunglasses off, and I'm actually going to put the protective eyewear on, so that this way, if anything comes back, my eyes are protected. So first thing we're going to do is, there's a couple of different hammers. I have a small little hammer, which is a little handheld one, as well as a larger hammer for bigger jobs and stuff like that. For this one today, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of play around with a little design. So sometimes when you are working with different woods or different projects, there's a pencil that you can use that to help put exactly where you want to do your design. So we are going to, on my piece of wood, and how many of you have wood in front of you? All right, great. So we're going to go ahead and have you guys go along with you. So go along and make sure that you are doing step by step as well. So it didn't have to be a large piece of wood. It didn't have to be anything that you had to go out and buy. I just recently took down one of my sheds in the backyard, so I ended up having some scrap wood around here. So I just kind of like cut it up so we can kind of play around and use some decorative stuff. So what we're going to do is, on my clear area here, we are going to kind of make a design. whatever design you want to. You can make it like a star or a heart or anything that you want. So what I did was I got a bunch of little tiny nails. And what we're going to do is we are going to put them in the shape that we want to put them in. Again, my one that I've already done, I kind of put it in a circle and just kind of went with it. Today, I think I'm going to do maybe a heart. So I'm going to, when you are hammering, you want to make sure that you are holding the nail. You're holding the nail by right underneath the head of the nail, but not far enough to where the sharp piece is, because that is going to be going into your wood. And you're going to hit the nail straight on the head, okay? You don't want to hit it slanted, because when you hit it slanted, that's when you end up getting boo-boos and you might have a sore thumb. All right, so I'm going to start off and I'm just going to go down just a little bit, just enough to get it in there and it's not moving. And I'm going to create my shape. So I think I'm going to do a heart. So I'm just going to, as best as I can, do my heart shape. All around. And just space it out, maybe about a half of an inch to an inch apart from each of the nails. And just come all the way down, all around. Until I create my heart shape. Kind of looking a little bit more of a wobblier heart, but that's okay. You can make it as big or as small as you would like. And sometimes, even though you're hitting it with the head, sometimes the nail will kind of go in a little slanted. And with nails, you can also kind of adjust it by tapping on it sideways once you have already put it in. And almost done with my heart. One more. Right, can everyone see that? Well, it looks a little upside down. It sort of looks like a heart-ish. All right, so what you can do from here is I went and got some string. Okay. I actually used embroidery string. You could use yarn for this as well. And you can go back and do it later as well. These are recorded, so you will be able to see them as well later on. But what I did was I made a starting point around one of my nails and just kind of twisted it around. And then, well, actually I tied it. It made it a little easier for me to tie one of them, or the starting. So just make a basic knot and tie it around. You can cut off the excess string later on. Sorry, I'm just gonna adjust this real quick. And then just kind of, you can make go around the back end of it and go around your shape to get it started. And then if you want, you can just kind of like crisscross, go down, and just kind of intertwine it whichever way you want to create your own design. And it just loops around the heads of the nails. And you can create whatever kind of a design you want. If you want to do it in a pattern, you can definitely do it in a pattern. You don't have to. You can do it in a sequence. You don't have to as well. You can just kind of put it wherever you feel like wanting to create your design. And you could use as much as you want. You could change colors if you want. And when you are done, it ends up making a different pattern. It makes out of the shape. And then once you get to the last piece, you can always just tie it off. So that was kind of the basics of using a hammer. Now we're going to take this skill that we just learned about using a hammer. Sorry about that. It's a little windy out here today, so I'm trying to make sure that none of my stuff ends up blowing away. The next thing that we are going to learn about doing is keeping it. Oh, watch out, Cairo. So again, always pay close attention to when you're working with tools, especially when you are working with power tools. So keeping it level. On every project, whether you're building a bench or hanging a picture, you want to make sure that the work area is level. Straight horizontally, or plumb, as they call it, for straight vertically. So today what we did is I wanted to kind of create our own T-level. So I just kind of took 2 scrap pieces of wood, and with the scrap pieces of wood, we are going to nail them together to make our own leveler. So in the first picture, you'll see a standard leveler, and what's in the yellow. And in the middle of that, there's a little liquid and there's a bubble in the middle. When the bubble is in the center of that level, that's saying that that piece is level. When you're hanging pictures up, a lot of times you'll want that level so that this way, you know, your pictures are not all crooked. And again, you can use your pencil to kind of make those indications, make those marks of where you want to hammer anything in. Actually, you know what? Let me see. I'd like to see anyone who is working on theirs. I want to see what you guys hammered your shapes, or at least the start of it. You can hold it up to the camera. Awesome. Yeah, you got some big nails there, Claire. And that's okay, because you know, you can decide to do different sizes. That works perfectly as well. And I can only see certain ones. You guys can keep working on it and so forth. So for this next one with its T level is, again, we want to keep everything level. Let me make sure that I put all of my nails back in so that this way no one steps on them or no one gets hurt. And I make sure that I clean up after myself, because safety is the #1 priority. So for this one, and Claire, those nails that you were using, and same with you, Cameron, is that for making a leveler, you're going to want to use a bigger nail, because those nails that I used for that other one will not hold this together. So for this, what I'm doing is a basic T. So what I'm going to do is the 2 pieces of wood that I have is I'm going to nail them together. So you want a nail that will go through both of them to be able to hold it. Okay? So because of my camera, and I don't have like a workstation to where I would be able to utilize and work on a work table, that's kind of why I'm working on the ground. So with this, to make it here, I'm going to take my larger nail. And a lot of times when you're working with wood, you want to use like galvanized ones, ones that are not going to rust, or deck wood, or deck screws, because those will work a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take in the middle that will line up with both of the cross points. And I am going to, well, actually first, because of where I want this, I'm going to start in the middle of this one and hammer it down until I get to a point that I will be able to nail, oops, went a little sideways, nail it into both pieces. This is my smaller one. It doesn't have a lot of power behind it, so I may have to get my bigger hammer, because it gives it a little bit more force behind it. My nail is cut because I'm not in a exact correct position. It's kind of going a little wonky. And what I might have to do is, if you have to pull it up because it's not adjusting right, you take the back end of the hammer and you pull it up. So it's not wanting to work for me right now, but what I will probably end up doing for this, because it worked with another piece I had yesterday, is sometimes you have to use a drill bit. And that's kind of something that we will get into the next step, which we'll kind of combine and do both of these steps at the same time. So when we talk about screwdrivers, there are two different types of screwdrivers. There are the Phillips screwdrivers, and those are the ones that have the star tips and flathead or slotted screwdrivers. So I put some pictures up on here so that you can see the different screwdrivers that we will be utilizing. Or there's even the one that I have, because again, I'm not the biggest pro on it. So I have one that has the different screw tips at the top. So we will use that, but then also we have our drill, a cordless drill, which on the cordless drill, it does have a piece on here that is both the flat tip and the Phillips. So when you want to use a screwdriver, or even if you need to, like for example, with this leveler, I need to, the nail is not going in the way I want it to. So what I'm going to do is I am going to drill it a hole in it, so that this way I will be able to utilize and go all the way through. It just kind of helps the nail going without splitting the wood. So I'm going to put my little drill bit into my cordless screwdriver. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up where I want the screw to go. And be careful with it. You want to make sure that you have a hold of the wood and tight grip on your power tool. And you're just going to drill the hole all the way down. There is a button that goes forward, and then there's a button on the opposite side that lets you pull it out. This way, I was able to drill a hole to help my nail go through. So trying to pull that out. Got it. All right, let me finish drilling it all the way through so that this way see how the drill went all the way through the hole? It went all the way through the hole. So that's where the it will help my nail to go all the way through. And I know it was a little bent, but that's okay. And now you can see that it went through the other end. And it'll make it a lot easier to go into the other piece. So because of the angle that I'm at right now is I'm going to hammer it from the ground. And hammer the two pieces together. To get it in. Once I get it in and it stands up, I can hammer it tighter. Oops, sorry, my camera keeps falling down. And now I have made a leveler. Did everyone see that? Can everyone see that leveler? Yes? All right. So this can help you when you are doing things that you want to line things up, and if you don't have a leveler. So in the screen before, we kind of made the yellow one is a one that you can hold up and make sure things are level, and then the other metal one is kind of like what we just made today, is a T-leveler. So you can use that T-leveler to help you hang up things or align things. Make things a little weird to make sure that everything is leveled off correctly. So this thing, sorry, I'm gonna adjust here as well, is we are going to hang up something else using a screwdriver, and using the power screwdriver. You can use I'm gonna show you guys how to use a screwdriver and the different things that you can do to use for a screwdriver. So, because then we're going to have I'm going to go inside for just a moment and switch scenes just for a moment. All right. So what I've kind of done now is I've come into my kitchen, and so does everyone have a screwdriver with them? All right. So again, there's different screwdrivers. And the screwdriver does help when you are trying to fix up little things. If you're trying to put on a light socket fixture, or even tighten up things that are around the house. Like today I'm going to tighten up something in my oven or on my stove. So make sure that if you are using anything that has electronics, that you turn it off, so that this way you do not get yourself electrocuted. My oven is not on, but what I'm going to do is in my oven, there are screws right here that hold the door handle in place. I kind of loosened it a little bit so that this way I could show you. So everyone see that how it's a little loose right here? So what I want to do is I'm going to take my screwdriver, and for this one, it actually uses a Phillips. So with that, I'm going to just tighten it up so that this way I don't lose the door from the handle, and then it makes it ends up making it a lot harder to open up my oven door. So again, I used the screwdriver to screw in different screws around in my kitchen. So now my oven door is not loose. So being able to use a screwdriver does help with being able to tighten things, loose ends around the house. If the screwdriver is not, if the screw is not already in position like it was with the oven, what you want to do is I'm actually going to hang up. I have a dartboard, and so I am going to hang it up on my fence. So I'm going to actually get a screw. So I have a galvanized screw, and because the wood is not, and with this one, I'm actually going to use the power tool. So because the wood is not, let me get my table with me so that this way I'm not shifting and everyone can see exactly what I'm doing. All right, so on my fence here, I'm going to hang up the dartboard right there. So I'm going to take my drill bit and drill a hole right into where I'm going to screw it in. So I'm going to line it up right here. Again, I'm going to put my glasses back on. And I drilled a hole in order to put my screw in there. Now, this is thicker wood, so using a flathead screwdriver or a Phillips screwdriver may end up being a little harder than you think. So using a power tool does help. And so I'm going to actually use the drill bit and put my Phillips head screwdriver in my drill. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And take my screw and screw it right into that hole that I just drilled. I'm going to leave it out enough so that I can go and get my dartboard and hang it up. And now my dartboard is hung up. So what I want you guys to do now, and I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to go find 3 things in your house that might need some tightening up. And you can go and take your screwdriver and go tighten it up. Okay, ready? You can take your camera with you as well if you want us all to see. And go. Love seeing that you girls going and working and getting all going out there and fixing it. Those that I could see their camera. Awesome. All right, I'm going to give you guys like another minute or two so that we can come back on and see and hear. All right, ladies, let's go ahead and come back to the camera. Who wants to tell me what did they go and tighten up in their house? Raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Keziah?
I had this like jewelry box and I just tightened that up.
Awesome. And also what I wanted to say is that, so we talked a little bit before about the couple of different sizes of hammers, and I showed you the two different sizes that I have had here, but I also have this little miniature set because like you have, Keziah, I'm sure that the screwdriver, the big screwdrivers may not work for that. So you might need smaller ones because jewelry boxes or sunglasses or eyeglasses, they might need a smaller screw. So having a set that does have smaller screws does help with that. Good job. Who else went and screwed some things? Claire, what did you go and screw?
Okay, I screwed in one of my drawers, like, you know, the drawer handles that open your drawers. It was loose, and I screwed in the bottom of the toy where you put the batteries in, then you gotta screw it back in. And I did that, and then I did my oven door handle like you.
Those are sometimes the easiest things, and then you feel so accomplished you know what, I went and did that. Yes, absolutely. Good job. All right. Let me see, where's Trinity? I had to open up my screen enough to be able to see everyone. Trinity, what did you screw?
I screwed up our door handle on the cabinet door.
Awesome, good job. Great, ladies. So now that you know how to use the basics of a hammer and a screwdriver, I challenge you to go and see what projects that you can do, because that's also going to be one of your steps, is to go ahead and build a project. So you can go to Lowe's. Lowe's has workshops that you can do to help learn how to build things, put things together. If one of your parents want to help you, or if you want to find someone who is in the business of things or putting things together, sometimes craft stores will do it, and so forth. So now we've completed steps 1 through 3. And steps 4 and 5 you'll need to do on your own. So this is I didn't want to get into using a saw, but because I would rather have had a professional that was here doing that. But the step 4 is saw some wood. So there's 2 different types of saws that I'm going to talk to you about. One is a miter saw, which is a saw that is attached to a metal grade or metal guide. Sorry. And a box that accurately cuts a piece of wood, straight lines and angles. So those are the you'll see up against, on that board, and then it can kind of make curves and, cut straight lines and so forth. And then there is a handsaw. The handsaw does not need a box and can be used to make different shapes of wood. So again, ask for help with doing these, but to complete this step, you can either do something that create the letters X, Y, and Z, using one of these saws, so making the end of the alphabet. Square it off. Compare the miter saw and the hand saw by cutting a 6-inch by 6-inch square out of a piece of plywood. Everyone know what plywood is? Well, for those that don't know what plywood is, it's it's a thinner piece, and it has a lot of like little splinter things that can kind of shed a lot easier than something like the wood that we were using today. First use the miter saw and then use the hand saw, or make a simple doll. Using the miter saw and box, cut out geometric shapes to create a simple figure, like a girl or a dog made out of triangles, rectangles, or squares. So that's what you're going to do for step 4. And then step 5, you are going to build something yourself. Now you're ready to make something, so you've learned how to swing a hammer, you've learned how to use a leveler, or what a leveler can be used for, and we learned how to use a screwdriver and the different variations of screwdrivers. So now you're going to use a saw, and then step 5 is you are going to build something. So you can either do it by build with an expert, so find a project, again, like suggested Lowe's or a craft store. You can build with a home improvers, or you can, again, build at a craft store or a artisan shop. So some project ideas that you can have are building a birdhouse, a jewelry box, a lap desk, picture frame, easel, magazine rack, jigsaw puzzle. You could be, your mind is endless, and you can use your creativity to figure out what you want to make. Any idea, has anyone made any crafts themselves? All right, Claire, what have you made, Claire?
I built a birdhouse with my Girl Scout troop, and I can't remember what it's called, but I've done something with my dad. And also I've sawed things like branches when we were cleaning up our neighborhood.
Awesome. Good job. So you're already ahead of the curve. Great job. Becky, what have you built? Hold on. Let me. Go ahead. Can't hear you, honey. Can't fully hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sweetheart.
Okay, so me and my friend Charlotte, we built a shelving unit for a local camp in our town.
Great job. Awesome. Keep up the good work and keep getting out there and building. All right, who else? Let me see. Bella?
I built this coat hanger.
Awesome. Look at that. Did you use a drill to drill the back of it to put those screws in?
Yeah.
Good job. Bailey, what did you build?
So, it was either last year or the year before, but me and my Girl Scout troop also did a Woodworker's badge, and we made like tree designs on pieces of wood and gave them to some people in the elderly string art and we gave them to people at a nursing home that we also like stayed at for a little bit and just sang some Christmas carols and had fun with everyone.
Awesome. Great job and great community service. Thank you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Katie.
This lady was going to work for us, and me and her, we built a bank that my mom got from Lowe's, and we it had hammers and stuff, or not hammers, but it had screws and nails and stuff. So we had to build that.
Awesome. Good job. So one thing that I do want to tell you also, ladies, is that I brought it here, but sometimes when you're hanging up picture frames, and you know, because we love changing up our room and being able to put things up, sometimes we don't always have a beam that we get into. So what you might want to use, especially if it's a drywall or something like that, is a lot of times they'll come with these little plastic pieces. These help the screws stay in the wall. So what you're going to want to do is actually take the drill bit and kind of drill a hole into that area, and then hammer these little plastic pieces in so that this way those stay into the wall, and then you can go ahead and do your screw in there, because these have like little, almost like prongs that they kind of attach into the drywall, so it allows the screw to stay put. Because if you just screw a screw or a nail into drywall, it's going to kind of rip out, and then it might just, like, you know, come down the wall, and then you have a hole in the wall without anything, and then you have to patch that hole up. So using those plastic pieces does help the nail to stay in place. So I want to thank you again for being on this webinar. Those of you that have participated, we are now, we have come out with a patch that both of our councils, Mountain to Midlands and Eastern South Carolina, our shop personnel have put in. And if you want to purchase a patch for these programs, you are more than welcome. You can order it through our shop, or you can order it through Mountains to Midlands shop. And we would love for you to be able to represent that you've been part of Girl Scouts Connected. So thank you again for joining us this morning. We've went over steps 1 through 5. Some of them we've done today, and then some of them you'll need to, again, complete on your own. So we've completed step 1, which was swing a hammer. We've completed step 2, level it up. We've completed step 3, using a screwdriver. Step 4, saw some wood you will need to do on your own. And then step 5, build something yourself. You will need to do on your own as well. Once you have, great job, Jill. I saw that you built a birdhouse, and Sarah built a Lego robotics. Awesome, that's great. So again, thank you again for joining us. We hope that you've learned some new things of, you know, with the woodworking badge. We hope to see you again. So tune in next week, next Thursday, May 13th at 10 a.m. for working on the Cadette Trailblazer badge. This afternoon, we do go live on our Facebook page, and we will be doing duct tape flowers for sandals. So thank you again for joining us this morning, and we look forward to seeing you on either Facebook or back again on our next week for our Trailblazer badge. Have a good day.